Assalamu alaikum. This is Matthew Abdul Haq Niyami from Al-Furqaan Foundation, and I'll get my video started as soon as I can here. But today, as usual, we'll be reading from the Clear Quran. Alhamdulillah, it's one of the best translations in English, and it's definitely the best translation for dawah. So inshallah, I hope you have a translation that you can use to connect with the meaning of the Quran. Since this is the month of the Quran, and we have, and the Clear Quran can really, it's a good way to prepare for Taraweeh, so that, when you do your Taraweeh, you read over the translation, so you prepare your mind to know what is happening, and then you can, when you have the Arabic, you can focus just on your heart, and the mind can support that, inshallah. If you go to theclearquran.org, here, let me share my screen. If you go to theclearquran.org, let's see, this is well, there's also a way to read it online, which I'll be using here mostly just so you can see what I'm doing. If I can get it to work. Yeah, that was working. Okay, but yeah, here's the website of theclearquran.org. And this is where you can view all the different editions that we have of the Clear Quran. There's English only, which is what we use for dawah, and that's, so you don't have to worry about tahara or anything. And then we also have hardcover. We have Arabic English hardcover, Arabic English soft cover, and Arabic English flexi cover. So there's different media, different styles, depending on your needs. We also have, what's very popular now is the kids Clear Quran, which has illustrations, learning points, side stories, there's background stories, and words of wisdom. So inshallah, there's many different versions you can get and like the kids Quran, for instance, is a great gift for anyone who has kids for Eid. And the large print might be good for anybody who has who might need glasses or doesn't want to have to wear glasses while reading, or if some people are trying to do tarawih, and if their shuyukh have said it's all right to read from the mushaf, then they can use the large print. Now, let's take a quick message from the Furqaan Foundation, and then we'll resume in just a moment with the live reading of the Quran translation. We'll be right back.
The Quran, the holy book that had been revealed by the creator of the universe, the miracle of Islam, and the message of Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Quran is a message, and it must be delivered. Furqaan Project is carrying this responsibility to deliver this message to everyone. Furqaan Project is the #1 distributor of the English translation of the Quran in North America. The translation that was described by a lot of scholars to be the best English translation of Quran so far. Millions of copies have been delivered to houses, prisons, hospitals, dawah organizations, mosques, everywhere. All that you need to do is to sponsor as many boxes of Quran as you can, from 1 box to 1,000. To donate, go to www.furqaanproject.org. You pay only $104 to sponsor 1 box. Sponsor a box now and deliver the message. Sponsor a box now and let America read the Quran.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for your patience. Just dealing with a little bit of technical stuff here. But here we'll be starting today with chapter 51, Surah Al-Dhariyat, or in English, it's translated as, here, let me share my screen so you can see. and so you can follow along easily. But yeah, I definitely recommend you pick up a hard copy for yourself and your loved ones at theclearquran.org, and that one has built-in subject headings to keep things even easier to understand. But inshallah, we'll work with this now. And like every surah in the Clear Quran translation, there is a brief description at the beginning to give you some background. So it's like the previous surah, this Meccan surah makes the case for the resurrection, citing some of Allah's natural signs in the universe to prove his ability to bring back the dead to life. Several examples are given of the deniers of judgment who were destroyed, which contrasts with the reward of the believers. The Prophet ﷺ is urged to carry on reminding. Both the end of this surah and the beginning of the next pose a warning of the day of judgment. In the name, and so I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin by the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. By the winds scattering dust, and the clouds loaded with rain, and the ships gliding with ease, and the angels administering affairs by Allah's command. Indeed, what you are promised is true, and the judgment will certainly come to pass. And by the heavens in their marvelous design, surely you are lost in conflicting views regarding the truth. Only those destined to be deluded are turned away from it. Condemned are the liars, those who are steeped in ignorance, totally heedless. They ask mockingly, when is this day of judgment? It is the day they will be tormented over the fire. They will be told, taste your torment. This is what you sought to hasten. Indeed, the righteous will be amid gardens and springs, joyfully receiving what their Lord will grant them. Before this reward, they were truly good doers in the world. They used to sleep only little in the night and pray for forgiveness before dawn. And in their wealth, there was a rightful share fulfilled for the beggar and the poor. There are countless signs on earth for those with sure faith, as there are within yourselves. Can you not see? In heaven is your sustenance and whatever you are promised. Then by the Lord of the heaven and the earth, all this is certainly as true as the fact that you can speak. Has the story of Abraham's honored guests reached you, O Prophet? Remember when they entered his presence and greeted him with peace, he replied, peace be upon you. Then he said to himself, these are an unfamiliar people. Then he slipped off to his family and brought a fat roasted calf and placed it before them, asking, will you not eat? They did not eat, so he grew fearful of them. They reassured him, do not be afraid, and gave him good news of a knowledgeable son. When his wife came forward with a cry, clasping her forehead in astonishment, exclaiming, a baby from a barren old woman? They replied, such has your Lord decreed. He is truly the all-wise, all-knowing. Later, Abraham asked, what is your mission, O messengers? They replied, we have actually been sent to a wicked people, to send upon them stones of baked clay, marked by your Lord for the transgressors. Then before the torment, we evacuated the believers from the city, but we only found one family that had submitted to Allah. And we have left a sign there as a lesson for those who fear the painful punishment. And in the story of Moses was another lesson when we sent him to Pharaoh with compelling proof. But Pharaoh was carried away by his power, saying of Moses, a magician or a madman. So we seized him and his soldiers, casting them into the sea while he was blameworthy. And in the story of Ad was another lesson, when we sent against them the devastating wind. There was nothing it came upon that it did not reduce to ashes. And in the story of Thamud was another lesson. And when they were told, enjoy yourselves only for a short while, still they persisted in defying the commands of their Lord. So they were overtaken by a mighty blast while they were looking on. Then they were not able to rise up, nor were they helped. And the people of Noah had also been destroyed earlier. They were truly a rebellious people. We built the universe with great might, and we are certainly expanding it. As for the earth, we spread it out. How superbly did we smooth it out. And we created pairs of all things, so perhaps you would be mindful. So proclaim, O Prophet, flee to Allah. I am truly sent by him with a clear warning to you. And do not set up another God with Allah. I am truly sent by him with a clear warning to you. Similarly, no messenger came to those before them without being told, a magician or a madman? Have they passed this cliche down to one another? In fact, they have all been transgressing people. So now turn away from them, O Prophet, for you will not be blamed. But continue to remind, for certainly reminders benefit the believers. I did not create jinn and humans except to worship me. I seek no provision from them, nor do I need them to feed me. Indeed, Allah alone is the supreme provider, Lord of all power, ever mighty. The wrongdoers will certainly have a share of the torment like that of their predecessors, so do not let them ask me to hasten it. Woe then to the disbelievers when they face their day, which they are warned of. JazakAllahu al-Azim. Allah has spoken the truth. That is chapter 51, the scattering winds, Ad-Dhariyat. So now let's take a brief break before we transition to the next surah. We'll take a brief message from Al-Furqaan.
Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guide for humanity with clear proofs of guidance and the standard to distinguish between right and wrong. For the first time in our history, you have a chance to donate to a most unique project to establish the largest Quran distribution center in North America.
Oh Allah, the Almighty, Allah, Allah, protect me and guide me, Allah, Allah.
Once this center is complete, it will have the capacity to handle the distribution of over 500,000 to 1 million copies of the Quran each year, inshallah. In addition to the largest Quran distribution center, it will house a large musalla, one of the largest Islamic bookstores for Quran and Islamic books, a Dawah center, an Islamic library, Quran recycling, an audio-visual studio, and will be the world headquarter of Al-Furqaan Foundation. With all of these activities, it will truly be a booming Islamic center in the whole Midwest, and we, therefore, call this project the Masjid Furqaan Project. This massive dream project needed only 1.7 million to turn into reality. We succeeded to get 70% of what we needed so far, which is 1.2 million. All we need now is the last 30%, which is $500,000 to complete the renovations. It was a long road, but the final mile is here. Your donation will help spread Islamic knowledge everywhere. To donate, go to www.masjidfurqaan.org. Masjid Furqaan, a new minaret, high and bright. Masjid Furqaan. Let's build it. Let's spread the light.
Noor Muhammad sallallahu, Allahu Allah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Allah.
Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, it's always good to see when the Ummah is coming together, pooling resources to make some big and effective things happen, MashaAllah. So I've seen the building. It's, they're renovating it and such. And inshallah, when it's done, it's really going to be, as mentioned in the video, really a hub, a headquarters that will be just churning out the dawah, inshallah, churning out Quran copies, coordinating the distribution, and just serving as a resource for the whole ummah to benefit from, and as well all our non-Muslim neighbors and friends as well, who inshallah will be able to benefit from those efforts in the dunya and the akhirah. All right, so let's resume our reading. I will be moving on to the next surah, the next chapter, which is chapter 52, Surah At-Tur, or Mount Tur. Tur means mountain in Aramaic. So this is anyway, it's just what the mountain is referred to. That was the mountain at which Bani Israel took their mithaq, took their covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This Meccan, and as the clear Quran description reads here, this Meccan surah takes its name from verse 1, where Allah swears by Mount Tur, among other things, that the day of judgment is inevitable. The punishment of those skeptical of judgment is described, followed by a detailed description of the reward of the believers along with their offspring. Atheism is also rejected. The Prophet ﷺ is reassured of Allah's support, while the pagan belief and arguments are refuted both in the surah and in the next. So I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin by the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. By Mount Tur and the book written, and open pages for all to read, and by the sacred house frequently visited, and by the canopy raised high, and by the seas set on fire. Indeed, the punishment of your Lord will come to pass. None will avert it. On the day the heavens will be shaken violently, and the mountains will be blown away entirely. Then woe on that day to the deniers, those who amuse themselves with falsehood. It is the day they will be fiercely shoved into the fire of hell. They will be told, "This is the fire which you used to deny. Is this magic, or do you not see? Burn in it. It is the same whether you endure it patiently or not. You are only rewarded for what you used to do. Indeed, the righteous will be in gardens and bliss, enjoying whatever their Lord will have granted them, and their Lord will have protected them from the torment of the hellfire. They will be told, eat and drink happily for what you used to do. They will be reclining on thrones, neatly lined up facing each other, and we will pair them to maidens with gorgeous eyes. As for those who believe and whose descendants follow them in faith, we will elevate their descendants to their rank, never discounting anything of the reward of their deeds. Every person will reap only what they sowed. And he will continually provide them with whatever fruit or meat they desire. They will pass around to each other a drink of pure wine, which leads to no idle talk or sinfulness. And they will be waited on by youthful servants like spotless pearls. They will turn to one another inquisitively. They will say, before this reward, we used to be in awe of Allah in the midst of our people. So Allah had graced us and protected us from the torment of hell's scorching heat. Indeed, we used to call upon him alone before. He is truly the most kind and most merciful. So continue to remind all, O Prophet, for you, by the grace of your Lord, are not a fortune teller or a madman. Or do they say, he is a poet for whom we eagerly await an ill fate? Say, keep waiting, I am waiting with you. I too am waiting with you. Or do their intelligent minds prompt them to this paradox? Or are they just a transgressing people? Or do they say, we made this Quran up? In fact, they have no faith. Let them then produce something like it if what they say is true. Or were they created by nothing? Or are they their own creators? Or did they create the heavens and the earth? In fact, they have no firm belief in Allah. Or do they possess the treasuries of the Lord? Or do they possess the treasuries of your Lord? Or are they in control of everything? Or do they have a stairway by which they eavesdrop on the heavens? Then let those who do so bring a compelling proof. Or does he have daughters as you claim, while you prefer to have sons? Or are you, O Prophet, asking them for a reward for the message, so that they are overburdened by debt? Or do they have access to the record in the unseen, so they copy it for all to see? Or do they intend to scheme against the Prophet? Then it is the disbelievers who will fall victim to their schemes. Or do they have a God other than Allah? Glorified is Allah far above what they associate with him. If they were to see a deadly piece of the sky fall down upon them, they would still say, this is just a pile of clouds. So leave them until they face their day in which they will be struck dead. The day of their scheming will be of no benefit to them whatsoever, nor will they be helped. Also, the wrongdoers will certainly have another torment before that day, but most of them do not know. So be patient with your Lord's decree, for you are truly under our watchful eyes. And glorify the praises of your Lord when you rise, and glorify him during the part of the night and at the fading stars. JazakAllahu-Khairan. Allah Almighty has spoken the truth. That concludes our reading of that chapter of Surah Tur, chapter of Mount Tur. And we'll take a brief break here. Well, actually, I'll tell you a bit about Al-Furqaan project, because as you can see on the backdrop behind me, that's the project that I work for. Our mission is to get the message of the Quran out to everyone in America, inshallah. And one of our primary tools for that is the clear Quran. Since this translation, did I lose my video there? Let me see here. Oh no, okay, we're good. All right, the clear Quran is one of our primary tools for getting out the message of the Quran. We distribute it to hotels, hospitals, prisons. We give it to chaplains who are going to these places. We give it to dawah organizations. We give it to MSAs. Anybody who wants to do dawah, we're behind them basically, or we're ready to help them and facilitate that, whatever materials they need. We do some of our own dawah directly, but in large part, we're sort of the infrastructure behind many of the dawah efforts in this country. MashaAllah, there are many organizations such as Gain Peace, at least in the Chicago area, is one of the primary ones in this area. Gain Peace, Why Islam, Ask a Muslim. These different organizations, MashaAllah, we work with them, and we work together to bring spiritual benefit to everyone in America, inshallah. And so, this being the month of Ramadan, the month in which the Quran was sent down, subhanallah, this is the perfect time to connect with the Quran personally, and to help others connect with it as well. So really, the best way to do that, is well, the Rasulullah ﷺ said that أحب الأعمال إلى الله أدومها وإن قل. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are regular, even if they're small. So this is one of the ways we can almost make some of the benefits of Ramadan extend all year round. The first thing we can do is, of course, we're so lucky, alhamdulillah, to have reached this month, and to be getting that Ramadan multiplier, as we might say, for all of our deeds and our worship. And there's a couple different ways we can sort of make those benefits, try to make those benefits extend all year round. One way is, of course, to whatever good habits we've picked up in Ramadan, whether it's being in touch with the Quran daily, whether it's sharing the Quran with people, if we continue to do that outside of Ramadan, that is a sign from Allah that those deeds have been accepted. And so we really want to make sure our deeds that we pick up in Ramadan, the extra prayers and things, maybe not Taraweeh every night, but at least do do anything you do after Isha in your Sunnah, that is any Nawafil you do after that, that is Qiyamul Layl. That is, that's huge. That's one of the most highly rewarded things acts of worship you can do. So make intention, at least do, if you're not doing any Qiyam al-Layl, at least do 2 rakat every night, after Isha and after Sunnah, and do your Dhuhr. Or, if you can wake up before Fajr and do even a few rakat, that's huge. So try to make that happen, inshallah. Try to read a page of Quran every day. If not a whole juz, at least read something of the Quran every day, and don't stop. Make that a part of your routine, or something on your checklist, that inshallah will go all year round. And then when Ramadan comes around next time, you'll have a stronger point to start from, instead of if many of us we kind of, by the time Ramadan comes around, we're we're back at square one in our development, or we've or maybe we start gearing up in Sha'ban. But if we start gearing up in Rajab, that's even better. If we start gearing up previously, the earlier we start gearing up for Ramadan, the more ready to fully get the benefit of Ramadan we will be. And another way we can extend the benefits of Ramadan all year round is to make a donation that is regular, and make intention for it, and activate it in Ramadan. Because if you start it in Ramadan, of course, you'll get that Ramadan multiplier, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies the deeds that you do in Ramadan by manyfold. And if you put it in, if you sign up for a regular donation to Al-Furqaan project during the month of Ramadan, and that and it's a monthly donation, that you'll be getting that multiplier applied to all those donations, inshallah. And really, that's the most beneficial way to donate to anything, really, is to make it regular, because that makes this institution sustainable. And if if we don't have sustainable institutions, what are we as an ummah? The purpose of having an ummah is of course, to have our hearts united upon iman, and in love for the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and love for each other, inshallah. But how do we manifest that? We manifest it by working together, creating institutions together that will benefit all of creation. For the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not sent except as a rahmatan lil alameen, as a mercy for the for the worlds. So let us try to manifest that, try to make that, show that we understand what that means, and try to benefit everyone by setting up institutions that we can regularly donate to and keep running. All right, Bismillah. Let's return to our reading, and this is the chapter of this is chapter 53, chapter of the stars, Surah An-Najm. And this Meccan surah takes its name from the reference to the fading of the stars in the first verse, as well as the last verse of the previous surah. The divine source of the Prophet's message is emphasized, followed by reference to his ascension to heaven during the night journey. See the introduction to Surah 17. The pagans are condemned for associating idols with Allah in worship and for claiming that the angels are Allah's daughters. Manifestations of Allah's infinite power are cited to prove his ability to resurrect. Both the end of the surah and the beginning of the next stress the imminence of the hour. So I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the accursed, and I begin by the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. By the stars when they fade away. Your fellow man is neither misguided nor astray, nor does he speak of his own whims. It is only a revelation sent down to him. He has been taught by one angel of mighty power and great perfection, who once rose to his true form. While on the highest point above the horizon, then he approached the Prophet, coming so close that he was only 2 arm lengths away, or even less. Then Allah revealed to his servant what he revealed through Gabriel. The Prophet's heart did not doubt what he saw. How can you, O pagans, then dispute with him regarding what he saw? He certainly saw that angel descend a second time at the low tree of the most extreme limit in the 7th heaven. And let me share my screen so you can follow along. At the lote tree, and he certainly saw that angel descend a second time at the lote tree of the most extreme limit in the 7th heaven, near which is the garden of eternal residence. While the lote tree was overwhelmed with heavenly splendors, the Prophet's sight never wandered, nor did it overreach. He certainly saw some of his Lord's greatest signs. Now, have you considered the idols of Allat and Uzza, and the third one, Manat, as well? Do you prefer to have sons while you attribute to him daughters? Then this is truly a biased distribution. These idols are mere names that you and your forefathers have made up, a practice Allah has never authorized. They follow nothing but inherited assumptions, and whatever their souls desire through true guidance has already come to them from their Lord. Or should every person simply have whatever intercessors they desire? In fact, to Allah alone belongs this world and the next. Imagine how many noble angels are in the heavens. Even their intercession would be of no benefit whatsoever until Allah gives permission to whoever he wills, and only for the people he approves. Indeed, those who do not believe in the hereafter label angels as female. Although they have no knowledge in support of this, they follow nothing but inherited assumptions, and surely assumptions can in no way replace the truth. So turn away, O Prophet, from whoever has shunned our reminder, only seeking the fleeting life of this world. This is the extent of their knowledge. Surely your Lord knows best who has strayed from his way and who is rightly guided. To Allah alone belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth, so that he may reward the evildoers according to what they did, and reward the good doers with the finest reward. Those who avoid major sins and shameful deeds, despite the stumbling on minor sins, surely your Lord is infinite in forgiveness. He knew well what would become of you as he created you from the earth and while you were still fetuses in the wombs of your mothers. So do not falsely elevate yourselves. He knows best who is truly righteous. Have you seen the one who turned away from Islam and initially paid a little for his salvation and then stopped? Does he have the knowledge of the unseen so that he sees the hereafter? Or has he not been informed of what is in the scripture of Moses and that of Abraham, who perfectly fulfilled his covenant? They state that no soul with sin will bear the burden of another, and that each person will only have what they endeavored towards. and that the outcome of their endeavors will be seen in their record, when they will be fully rewarded, and that to your Lord alone is the ultimate return of all things. Moreover, he is the one who brings about joy and sadness, and he is the one who gives life and causes death, and he created the pairs, males and females, from a sperm drop when it is emitted, and it is upon him to bring about recreation, and he is the one who enriches and impoverishes, and he alone is the Lord of Sirius, and he destroyed the first people of Ad, and then Thamud, sparing no one. And before that, he destroyed the people of Noah, who were truly far worse in wrongdoing and transgression. And it was he who turned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah upside down. How overwhelming was what covered them. Now which of your favors will you dispute? This prophet is a warner like early ones. The approaching hour has drawn near, but none but Allah can disclose it. Do you find this revelation astonishing, laughing at it and not weeping in awe, while persisting in heedlessness? Indeed, prostrate to Allah and worship Him alone. Allah, the Almighty, has spoken the truth. That concludes the chapter of the star. Now we'll take a brief break and a message from Al-Furqaan Foundation, and then we'll resume with the next chapter in just a minute.
I always get invitations to go to schools and teach classes. My favorite class is the Quran. And I've been using old translations of the Quran because they say they are authentic. Old is gold, right? Therefore, you must control yourself. As God says, hence, let thy bearing be middling, and subdue thy vocalism. For most verily, the harshest of all noises is the sound of the ass.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. That was, of course, a somewhat humorous message about how when you use these old translations of the Quran, they're often difficult to understand, and the wording can be humorous at times, especially if the translator either didn't know Arabic very well or didn't know English very well. And often to know a language, you can't just know a language from the dictionary. You have to really, if you've ever seen instructions made, if you ever opened up a product, from China maybe, and you try to read the instructions, and sometimes the instructions are in English, but they make almost no sense, and they're sometimes bizarre and hilarious. I bet if you find the dictionary that the person was using, you can figure out, well, you might have to know Chinese, but that person, bless their heart, they were doing their best. They tried to use the English dictionary. They had whatever Chinese word they were thinking of. They looked at it in the Chinese English dictionary, and maybe it had maybe sometimes that word can mean that in English, but in the language is extremely context dependent. And so you really have to get used to how the words are used, in what contexts, and it also often depends on the genre, the type of thing we're talking about, or the type of literature we're using. So you need to be, first of all, very familiar with the Quran of the Arabic. And you also have to be familiar with English as it's spoken today, and how English speakers might talk about religion in particular. And so, mashallah, Mustafa Khattab, he did his degree at Al-Azhar in Islamic studies, of course, but in English. They have an English program there. So mashallah, he's familiar with both English and tafsir, and that is a winning combination. So inshallah, that can be, it's a far more easy to understand translation. So now we'll be returning to that translation to read the next chapter, which is the chapter of the moon. So let me share my screen here. Oops, I minimized this. All right, so this is chapter 54, the moon, Al-Qamar. This Meccan surah, which takes its name from the splitting of the moon mentioned in verse 1, criticizes the disbelievers for rejecting warnings of the fast approaching hour. The pagans are warned of a dreadful fate similar to that of earlier disbelievers, who were mentioned passingly in the previous surah. The surah concludes by announcing that the righteous will be honored in the presence of the Almighty, which is the highlight of the next surah. So I seek refuge from Allah, from Satan the accursed, and I begin by the name of Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. The hour has drawn near, and the moon was split in two. Yet whenever they see a sign, they turn away, saying, "Same old magic." They rejected the truth and followed their own desires, and every matter will be settled. Even though the stories of destroyed nations that have already come to them are a sufficient deterrent, this Quran is profound in wisdom, but warnings are of no benefit to them. So turn away from them, O Prophet, and wait for the day when the caller will summon them for something horrifying. With eyes downcast, they will come forth from the graves as if they were swarming locusts. Rushing towards the caller, the disbelievers will cry, "This is a difficult day." Before them, the people of Noah denied the truth and rejected our servant, calling him insane, and he was intimidated. So he cried out to his Lord, "I am helpless, so help me." So he opened the gates of the sky with pouring rain, and caused the earth to burst with springs, so the waters met for a fate already set. And we carried him on that ark made of planks and nails, sailing under our watchful eyes, a fair punishment on behalf of the one that they denied. And we certainly left this as a sign. So is there anyone who will be mindful? Then how dreadful were my punishments and warnings, and we have certainly made the Quran easy to remember. So is there anyone who will be mindful? I had also rejected the truth. Then how dreadful were my punishments and warnings. Indeed, we have sent against them a furious wind on a day of unrelenting misery, that snatched people up, leaving them like trunks of uprooted palm trees. Then how dreadful were my punishments and warnings. And we have certainly made the Quran easy to remember. So is there anyone who will be mindful? Thamud rejected the warnings as well, arguing, "How can we follow one average human being from among us? We would then truly be misguided and insane. Has the revelation been sent down only to him out of all of us? In fact, he is a boastful liar." It was revealed to Saleh. They will soon know who the boastful liar is. We are sending the she-camel as a test for them, so watch them closely and have patience. And tell them that the drinking water must be divided between them and her, each taking a turn to drink every other day. But they roused a companion of theirs, so he dared to kill her. Then how dreadful were my punishment and warnings. Indeed, we sent against them only one mighty blast, leaving them like the twigs of fence builders. And we have certainly made the Quran easy to remember. So is there anyone who will be mindful? The people of Lot also rejected the warnings. We unleashed upon them a storm of stones. As for the believers of Lot's family, we delivered them before dawn. As a blessing from us, this is how we reward whoever gives thanks. We had already warned them of our crushing blow, but they disputed the warnings. And they even demanded his angel guests from him, so we blinded their eyes, and they were told, "Taste then my punishment and warnings." And indeed, by the early morning they were overwhelmed by an unrelenting torment. Again they were told, "Taste now my punishment and warnings." And we have certainly made the Quran easy to remember. So is there anyone who will be mindful? And indeed the warnings also came to the people of Pharaoh. But they rejected all of our signs, so we seized them with the crushing grip of the Almighty, most powerful. Now, are you Meccan disbelievers superior to those destroyed peoples? Or have you been granted immunity from punishment in divine books? Or do they say, we are all a united front, bound to prevail? Soon their united front will be defeated and forced to flee. Better yet, the hour is their appointed time, and the hour will be most catastrophic and most bitter. Indeed, the wicked are entrenched in misguidance and are bound for blazes. On the day they will be dragged into the fire on their faces, they will be told, "Taste the touch of hell." Indeed, we have created everything perfectly preordained. Our command is but a single word, done in the blink of an eye. We have already destroyed the likes of you, so will any of you be mindful? Everything they have done is listed in their records. Every matter, small and large, is written precisely. Indeed, the righteous will be amid gardens and rivers. at the seat of honor in the presence of the most powerful sovereign. Allah Almighty has spoken the truth. And that concludes our reading today of Surah Al-Qamar, the chapter of the moon, and all of our reading for today. So I hope you've benefited from this. JazakAllahu-Khairan for listening. Please pick up the Clear Quran for yourself. Pick up a hard copy so you can read it, all year round. And you can pick up some extra copies you can share with friends and neighbors. You can also go to sendaquran.org, and that is a way you can order a Quran to be sent to non-Muslim friends and neighbors so they can read it while they're shut in their houses during this pandemic, and inshallah benefit from it. And likewise, you can also, if you don't have anybody specific in mind, you can always go to furqaanproject.org. Here, I'll pull up the screen here. Furqaan Project, Furqaan project.org. If you go to that website, which is our mission to get the message of the Quran out to everyone in America. If you don't have anybody specific in mind to give the Quran to, you can go here and donate, and we'll find people. Alhamdulillah, we have connections with plenty of dawah organizations who will take it out and give it to whoever they find in their street dawah efforts, or if they're a chaplain going to a prison, they'll take it to prisoners there who are interested in learning about Islam, and they'll hospitals, which subhanAllah, there's so many people shut in hospitals right now, whether it's for COVID or something else, and they can't be visited, and it's really a difficult time for people. So many people will benefit from the solace of the Quran if they can have access to it. So please go to furqaanproject.org, and then in the upper right here, there's a donate now button. Click that, and that's where you can set up your monthly donation. Since you're staying at home, you probably, and since a lot of this coffee shops might not be open, you're not paying for coffee every day. That covers a box a month for you. $104 a month. That's like $3 a day, or even about $3 a day. That covers you for a box for a month. So inshallah, sign up for that, and the benefit, the sadaqah jariyah, will keep on rolling in, inshallah. So JazakAllahu-Khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're all staying connected with the Quran during these last few nights of Ramadan, and may Allah count us among all those who are forgiven for our sins and given salvation this month. JazakAllahu-Khairan. Assalamu alaikum.